In 1897, a Benin bronze sculpture of a cockerel was stolen from the palace of the Oba of Benin. 8 years later, it ended up here at Jesus College, Cambridge University in the United Kingdom, handed to the college by a father of a student. Today, the college sets a new precedent, as for the first time in British history, a stolen Benin artifact is being handed back to Nigeria.
I'd like to welcome everyone here to the Frank Pan Auditorium at Jesus College as we gather for the ceremony to formally hand over this Benin bronze, this okoko, which does not belong to us. Together we represent some, not all, of the party that will sign the legal documentation that will formalise the rightful ownership of this bronze and is the heart of this historic day. When one sees a wrong that is so egregious, when you notice it, the key institutional question, and maybe in fact the only institutional question one can ask, is how to right that wrong. Our journey in righting this wrong began with knowledge. It began with what we do as a university so well, and what we do at Jesus College with heart and with care. We teach, we educate.
Jesus College today is demonstrating the need for a change of attitude in the perception of imperialism and the ownership of ancestral heirloom. By studying the circumstances of colonial activities with respect to illegally obtained heritage arts and coming to the conclusion that it is immoral to retain such items, Jesus College is indeed challenging the erroneous argument that stolen art cannot be returned because of the existence of different legal jurisdictions on the matter.
I want to, on behalf of the National Commission for Museums and Monuments, want to thank Jesus College for being the first in the United Kingdom to physically hand over one of the loot, the Benin loot of 1897. And this is really a great example for other institutions and other countries to take cue from. And we look forward to going to Aberdeen to collect another piece. And also, hopefully, I'm sure, of course, optimistic that we're coming back again to Cambridge, to the Museum of Archaeology and Anthropology, to do the same process, and being the second largest holder of the Benin collections in the United Kingdom.
What precedence does the return of okoko set?
Well, clearly, institutions have been hiding behind the cloak that they acquired these things, they were gifts and all of that. They did not loot them directly, just like some other holders of these artifacts. But now the precedent is that there is no excuse anymore. Jesus College researched and they took the noble decision that works that were looted, no matter how you obtain them, ought to be returned to their rightful place. So we are hoping that others take a cue from this.
How do you personally feel towards the return of okoko today?
The feeling is indescribable. It's pure joy. Even though in a paradoxical way, it's also the beginning of a long battle for the return of the rest. Jesus College has done so well as far as private institutions go, because there's a dichotomy in the battle between artifacts held by government institutions, which have to be negotiated under sovereign agreements, under the protocols and treaties, and the ones held by private institutions like Jesus College and Oxford and all other universities and museums, private museums, who don't have to go through the rigmarole of international sovereign negotiations. They can just call us and say, look, come pick up your thing, and we'll come. And the change of attitude is quite commendable because it is the right thing to do. It's a matter of conscience, and it is the right thing to do.
How did this all begin 6 years ago when you were still a student here at Cambridge?
Yeah, so I was in first year, and Amate, who's another student, he was a year above me, raised it like, oh, have you seen that thing? Because I think I mentioned that I was interested in art, and that was kind of the beginning. We started drafting something. We had to present it to the students. Let's kind of get a student mandate so we can take this, present it to the college, at college council, and that was how this conversation started. So there was a lot of conflict, I think, about what we were going to say in the proposal, how we were going to present it, what our case actually was going to be. We had to do lots of research, so we knew what we were talking about. And then after a while, I think we did actually grow tired. And you think that those things just kind of get lost and die in institutional memory, but it's nice that, like I said, that there was staff to keep that going and to revive that in a way that was coherent with how Jesus does things and makes decisions, and now it's going home.
How responsive do you believe the British government are to the return of stolen artifacts?
Yes, it's a process. These artifacts are in two different categories. The artifacts relating to the being held by private institutions are quite different from the one being held by government institutions, but British Museum in particular. And in the course of my interaction with the British Museum much earlier on, I'm told that the artifacts were taken to the British Museum under an act of parliament. So it would take a parliamentary lobby and an act of parliament to effect the return of this act.
Thank you so much for being here in the Frankopan Hall at Jesus College for what I think has been a really historic occasion. Thank you so much. My final words are, it is done.
It's been a historical and very emotional day here at Cambridge University. The relentless push by several Nigerians over many years means that Nigeria has now opened the doors for many other African countries to demand that their artifacts are returned. The question is, how far will this go? Are we going to see other Western institutions following in the footsteps of Jesus College? Well, that remains to be seen, but this is certainly just the beginning. Layla Johnson Salami, Arise News, Cambridge.